Alright, we are live, Corbin.
For some reason, pop song when we're talking about Mayhem.
Yeah. Alright, well, we're going to start this, the darkest band in history, Mayhem. I know... all of my knowledge about this band comes from talking to Corbin. Because my obsession with Yick is comparable to Corbin's obsession with Mayhem currently, so there you go.
Like, dark stuff like this, like, I just find, like when I got obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer, I get obsessed with, like, Gnosticism or occultism and stuff like that, like,
yeah, no, I get that, Corbin. Like I said, I'm the same way, so I get it. So we'll go ahead and dive in. We'll be commentating on it and stuff like that, as per usual. So let's just hop in.
Music, they say, has disturbing satanic overtones. It's called black metal music and encourages devil worship and the desecration of churches.
Now, you said black metal was created because they thought that regular metal was, like, too pussy, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, black metal is literally just all about how extreme can we possibly be.
Nice.
Which is why the movie for the stuff so hard. Like, if I did a movie about this, I'd make the movie in the actual aesthetic of death metal. I mean, of black metal.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'd have the lighting and atmosphere of the movie fit within the kind of music, but the movie's just like, oh, look, feel bad for Euronymous. Let's all cry because he stabbed 26 times. Oh, boo-hoo, Euronymous.
Right. Have you ever seen Dawn of the Black Hearts cover? I have not. Is that the one that has the corpse on it?
Wait, which one did he say?
Dawn of the Black Hearts.
I can't remember if that's... I don't think that doesn't sound like what I thought the album was called, but yeah, there's an album of Dead blowing his head off as the cover. Imagine that your like friend died. Oh man, this is a cool album cover.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Corbin, you kept going on about that guy that was in that horrible industrial accident at your work looked like a metal album cover and how you should have taken a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I think you're in that same headspace.
Yeah, but if I got stabbed, that would be bad.
Yep, that's it. Shrimp says, yeah, that's the one. Morbid musicians.
Anybody who's Euronymous, I don't like you.
Euronymous, Mayhem.
Black metal has become one of the most talked about, controversial.
Yeah, this documentary is about Euronymous.
The last few decades.
Well, good.
Instead of being a... But yeah, I'm still gonna watch it.
Okay, I was gonna say, because you still want to stick through this one, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen this one.
Its history is so long, rich, and confusing that even trying to dissect the genre as a whole is a task that many music journalists have failed at. But there is one man that
those
has
people
so
didn't
many
even
ties
like
to the genre,
black metal heads.
an
They just look
influence
like
on the
like
music
weird
that
kind of like
merely talking
Slipknot
about
kind
him
of stuff.
and the band
Yeah.
he was a part of is a crash course into the history of black metal itself. This man was Eystein Aarseth, otherwise known as Euronymous.
You ever watch anything about G.G. Allen?
Known as Mayhem, a notorious group
I know who he is and that he's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And he perfectly encapsulated the
But look,
absolute
Euronymous is such
insanity
like an
that some
ugly
of these
person.
black
Like he
metal
he
icons
goes around with like his shirt
extreme
off,
antics,
at his
nihilistic
stomach. He
nature,
has
and
like
abrasive
this
persona
like
made
huge
him stand out
mustache.
like a sore thumb in a genre that was already pretty intense to begin with. All of these elements would eventually combine.
You know who? This is Euronymous, right? This guy.
Varg.
Oh, this is Varg.
Yeah, that's him as a
young guy.
Tribe.
Do you know who young Varg looks like?
Who?
He looks like Jimmy Anderson.
Jimmy Anderson?
Yeah.
Wait.
The Bigot Slayer.
Yeah, that is who he looks like. Bigot Slayer.
In 1993, when Euronymous was
kind of look like
by
Jim
his own
from the
band,
Bigot Slayer when I
we
had
have
punk
about
hair.
1,000 other
Yeah, a little bit.
things to talk about before we get to that point. So strap in and join me as we have a look at the insane life of one of black
Plus,
metal's
it's such a fugly
biggest
person.
icons.
I just don't like looking at him. I'm glad he's gone.
Jesus.
On the 22nd of March,
No,
1968, Eystein Aarseth
Fort
was
Vard.
born in Egersund, Norway, a small town in the south that had actually been broken up and divided
Just stabbed
3
him
years
30
prior,
times.
meaning that the population of the town he
No.
grew up in was only around 3,700 people. Very little is known about his childhood, as is the case with many black metal musicians, but what is known is that Aarseth rebelled from the conventional norms of his small town from an early age, and he was inspired by other metal bands, like many of his contemporaries. One of these bands was an English group known as Venom, based in Newcastle. Venom was also trying to escape.
Venom,
I'm not a fan
gonna
of
get
that.
back at him,
Trapped
gonna
in,
wear
but
some
instead of
denim.
breaking away from society,
I
they
think
were
Mayhem
actually
and
trying to
Berserm
break
are a lot
away
better
from
than.
metal
I mean,
itself. They wanted to
You think
Venom,
Mayhem
but
and
it's
what?
not as good.
You were cutting out what? You think Mayhem and what?
Mayhem and Berserm are better than Venom, but I still like Venom, but Venom's not that good.
Okay. Berserm, is that like Berserk but with
Yeah, I said Berserm. Yeah, Berserm's what Varg's band is called, which is a one-man band. Like, Varg does all the Berserm music himself.
No, but you heard what I said, right? I said is Berserm like Berserk but
Yeah,
Berserm?
to take everything up a notch from their
Berserm, wait a
sound
minute.
imagery, and that's
Berserk,
exactly
more
what
like
they did on their
Berserm?
sophomore album, released in 1982, which was actually called.
Wait,
Black
I
Metal.
listen to
It was
music
an
while I read
11-track
Berserk.
album that was filled with satanic imagery, shocking
Yeah, I think it's funny that all the music you've been getting into lately is really fucking, like, dark and, like, associated with, like, dark people. Like, you've been listening to, like, a lot of Charles Manson and now this.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Charles Manson, I think we both agree, is innocent, but...
Yeah. And also, like, a lot of Charles Manson's songs are, like,
really
kind of,
lighthearted.
like, peaceful.
Yeah, they're really upbeat.
Oh, sometimes they're socialist or, like, weirdly Christian, and then there's, like, that are, like, there's ones that are sexist, and there's ones that are, like, really, like, dang it, I lost my train of thought, never mind.
Okay.
lyrics and louder, more extreme production that would prove to be hugely influential to thrash metal, extreme metal,
Trash
and of
metal.
course,
Trash!
black metal, even lending the name to the genre. A 22-year-old Euronymous, desperate to rebel and do something similar, would be hugely influenced by
metal,
this
what
album
you call
and would
bad
cite it
thrash
as one
metal.
of his main inspirations.
When he
for
keeps
starting his
whenever
own
he says
band with two
Euronymous, it
friends
makes me
in
think of
1984.
Geronimo.
This band was called Mayhem, which was derived from a Venom song
Seriously,
titled
though,
Mayhem with
especially with
Mercy,
Euronymous,
and it was started
like, Euronymous, just because he's a band, like, I don't get, like, what about him specifically, because he's not the most interesting member of the band by far, like there's so many more
Everything you've
interesting
told me,
members of
Varg
Mayhem.
sounds like the most interesting guy.
Yeah, well, Dead's pretty interesting too. Dead's a freaking was a freak, but he was cool. Except that he killed himself. Like,
Okay.
but
drummer
oh, never mind. Just
who
keep
simply
watching.
called himself by his second name.
Yeah, I don't
Bassist
necessarily have to
Dylan
pause it every
Strickland,
time, but
otherwise known as
the reason I keep doing it
and
is so that I can hear you
Ace, who
clearly
played
if you
the
cut
guitar,
out, you know.
And originally called himself Destructor, but later changed his name.
But also that way I can
These
pay
three would
attention to
have
the
a rocky
documentary
few
too, and
years
also
at the beginning, with a number
you
of
know, we
different
pause it and
vocalists
break
that
it up.
make
It's
some of
more
their earlier
transformative that
releases
way too. See.
inconsistent but interesting nonetheless.
Mhm.
They would attract a small but loyal underground following and perform at some local venues. But the most important
one
thing
thing I
did
like about
was
Mayhem
build
though
the
is that they were like
foundation for
super
what
elite
Mayhem would
and
become.
and
It was
like
only a
gatekeep
matter of
their
time before everybody in
fan
Norway
plot.
was
Like
talking
only
about Mayhem
the most
and
extreme
black
people
metal
were
in general,
allowed like in their
although this
group.
wasn't
Good.
necessarily a good thing.
I think art should be gate kept, so that's good.
Like, it had to be like a
In the
Nazi
beginning,
Satanist to be
Mayhem
like.
performed covers of songs by groups that they were inspired by. In an interview with Necrobutcher, he claims that they were essentially learning the instruments as they went, and that their sound was closer to punk than to metal. They had not yet found their dark sound, and this boils down to inexperience and their vocalists. On their first demo, Euronymous was their lead vocalist, but after it was released, they decided to search for some session vocalists to improve their sound. The two that they found were Eric Billy Norheim, otherwise known as Messiah, and Sven Erik Christensen, otherwise known as Maniac. Norheim practiced with them multiple times, but only played one show with them in 1985 before eventually quitting to focus on other musical endeavors. Maniac, on the other hand, stayed with the band for a few years and was their lead vocalist when they recorded their first EP in 1987, known as Death Crush. This 7-track project definitely had darker undertones than most metal records at the time, but it was only a glimpse into the shocking music that Mayhem were truly capable of making.
But
while some of their
a lot of
lyrics
people
were dark and satanic,
in the movie,
the
they make
instrumentation was a bit less
Varg
abrasive,
out to be
and
like
the imagery was a bit
Satanist, Nazi guy. But I think in real life, but like he's not like Satanist, he's pagan. But like I don't think he actually cares about Satanism. He's just a pagan who hated Christianity and Jews, and I don't think he's really connected with like support Hitler because he wasn't Christian, so he wasn't Catholic.
Well, that's the thing about like a lot of these, like, I've noticed that paganism is still pretty popular in a lot of these Scandinavian countries, right? You know, like Norway, Sweden, Finland, that kind of thing.
I honestly get where Varg's coming from though, because I mean it's like the same thing that people say that the Jews are doing to them, where they're like, oh, they're, or like where people, like Christians get upset because people immigrate to their country and change their culture, but that's exactly what Christians have historically done to every country that was pagan, and like they've wiped away paganism and like replaced it with Christianity.
You know, I had a guy who used to work at my job that was a pagan. He was a Norse guy. Like he believed in like Odin and shit like that.
Yeah, that's what Varg believes in.
Yeah, I figured because Scandinavian, so that seemed kind of obvious,
But Varg, I think Varg's pretty cool in how like.
Hey, he said Sweden. I sure did say Sweden, Andy.
bit more low-key and toned down, but the EP was still very raw. In the book known as Black Metal, Evolution of the Cult by Dale Peterson, Monheim stated that the sound technician they worked with had never recorded music that was this heavy, and basically didn't know how to record it properly. This also meant that the music was not mixed, and that nothing was overdubbed. Today, this would be a cardinal sin in the world of music, but in this case, it actually helped the record sound more raw and authentic. And
that's something I actually like, that's interesting about art, in like not just music, but like film and television and stuff, is there's a lot of like things they used to do to make good art that they're not allowed to do anymore. Like, this isn't something that's not allowed, it's something that just wouldn't be done, right? But like there's a lot of things that they did to make like older movies and like TV shows and stuff that like isn't allowed now because of like increased like safety regulations and shit like that. And I think that really does stifle art. Also, there's a lot of movies there's a lot of movies and stuff that are made with like illegal filming where they just like filmed at locations they weren't allowed to.
But like watching like modern movies is such like I can't believe anybody watching modern movies. Like every time when people are like, "Oh, you're a buzzkill, you don't want to have fun," it's like, 'cause I'm not a freaking retard that tries to enjoy literally everything.
Yeah.
Like why would I watch a movie and not just let it be good and enjoy it being good? Why do I have to go into a movie going, "I'm going to enjoy this. This is going to be the best part of my day"?
Yeah. Like that. Like the thing is, the few times that I've liked modern movies, I've gone in skeptical and came out pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, if it's a good movie, you can go in it wanting to hate it, and you'll like it at the end if it's a good movie.
Well, like for instance, this isn't one that I thought I would hate, but when we went into Antichrist, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, granted, this is 2009, but we went in watching it, and like I love that movie. Really good movie. But like at the beginning, I was like, "Oh, is this going to be some weird artsy stuff?" And like, yeah, it is, but that's not a bad thing. They did it really well.
It works when you're doing like when I like movies that do symbolism and aren't just like that have actual symbolism, and it's not just here's a bunch of random nonsense, interpret it.
Yeah.
Like if there has to actually be an intended meaning for me to actually interpret my own meaning to it. If it's just nonsense, then that's going to appear.
Right, and I think that's why I've been so into Yick lately, is because of the the unconventional storytelling and like all the metaphorical and like symbolic stuff in it. Like I genuinely like that game is genuinely in my top 10 RPGs now.
Because of that though is why you can interpret it with stuff like I did with Gnosticism or whatever, Carl Jung.
Yeah.
But like good art like that, where it has its own meaning, but you can still interpret your own meaning because there's at least a consistency and a coherency to that person's view that can line up with you.
Right.
It made for a pretty decent death metal EP. That's
you what?
I'm heating up my room. It's freezing.
Do you want me to pause it then, or do you want me to keep it going?
Keep it going.
Okay.
Around 1,000 copies in Norway. Still, despite their sound being dark and controversial, they hadn't pushed the envelope enough, and still hadn't developed into the full-on black metal band they were to become. Before that would happen, significant changes would be made to Mayhem's lineup. In 1988, Mannheim left the band and was replaced by Jan Axel Blomberg, otherwise known as Hellhammer. Maniac, who had established himself as a competent vocalist on Death Crush.
He looks like, you know how the Lone Ranger has his sidekick Tonto? That's who he looks like.
That one, yeah.
Also leave the band, and his replacement would help change the direction of Mayhem and black metal forever.
Oh.
Got an ad. Ads are gay. Can't sleep. Clown will eat me.
Also, Varg, in the movie, Euronymous has a girlfriend, and Varg said, this movie's inaccurate because Varg was a homosexual, a closeted homosexual. Like, there's nothing saying that, like, there's no evidence to say that he's a homosexual. But Varg just was like, yeah, he's a closeted homosexual, so he wouldn't have a girlfriend. It doesn't make any sense. Why'd you give him a girlfriend in this movie?
What the fuck?
And I thought it was funny because it's either he's right and he really was, or Varg just making stuff up to make people think he was gay. Either way,
that's funny.
I think it's great.
In 1986, an introverted 17-year-old from the south of Stockholm, Sweden, started a band known as Morbid. This man was...
That's pretty morbid.
Varg is definitely a liar.
Otherwise known by his...
Varg actually is a liar. His story about what happened has changed 3 times.
That's funny.
But I'm still on his side.
Dead. Morbid only released one demo with Dead.
Also, what Varg says about the church burning, he says, well, I was found innocent of those church burnings. So, I mean, if the court says I'm innocent, then
his
I'm innocent.
voice was dark and menacing, even at 18 years old, and even though this 4-track project was basically a raw experiment, as opposed to a polished piece of work, it was more than enough to show what Dead was capable of doing.
See, Corbin, that's pretty morbid.
Yeah, Dead, the guy Dead, he was a really good vocalist. I actually really liked his
After
vocals.
this demo was released, Oline felt as if Morbid weren't going anywhere, and he wanted to be a part of something bigger and more established. His answer was Mayhem.
I think
according to
actual music.
Dead sent him a package that contained the Morbid demo, a letter containing his plans for the future, and a decomposing rat. Obviously, this was bizarre, but the demo was definitely
just screams.
I like how you've been going down this massive metal rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get into all the obscure metal stuff that I haven't been, because there's a lot of metal that I've been meaning to listen to that I haven't. I'm trying to get into it.
Okay.
Definitely good enough. They invited him to join the group, and in 1988, Dead moved to Norway and replaced Maniac as the lead vocalist of Mayhem. It didn't take long for the band members to realize how strange Dead truly was. They would reflect on this years later in interviews.
I'm not sure I knew Pelle, the other Pelle. Dead Pelle we knew very well, and I guess the whole world, which are interested in Mayhem or in black metal in general, they know the image of Dead in Mayhem and his lyrics and what he stood for. But the private Pelle was a strange guy. The first time I met him, I got angry because I'm a kind of light-minded. I'm enjoying life, he did not.
Well, who the hell are you anywhere near the band?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the fuck are you doing in a black metal band then?
I do think that the real Pelle was a great part of Dead, the figure Dead. I do think that, but not in the extreme way. But that was something he just dressed up and became. But he was also that on a regular daily basis. He slept with dead birds under his bed because he wanted to smell death. And it was an image. He was depressed. He was looking for death.
Regardless of how morbid and strange he was, his talent and intensity as a vocalist was undeniable, and his dark image played a big part in transforming, or at the very least, emphasizing Mayhem's aesthetic and sound. By the time Mayhem entered the stage with Dead for the first time in 1990, their image had become darker and more intense. A lot of this boiled down to who Dead was as a person. As stated previously, he was obsessed with the idea of death, and because of this, he would harm himself on stage and around his friends. His bandmates and friends did not like this and were understandably concerned, but Euronymous was fascinated by Dead and his antics and encouraged this kind of behavior to continue. According to the people who knew both Dead and Euronymous, they got on each other's nerves quite a bit. There were stories that they would torment each other, fight with each other, and there was even a bizarre claim that Dead had stabbed Euronymous while they lived together. A lot of these claims are difficult to
Did multiple people stab Euronymous?
But the rumors and stories
Is that just
these two did not
is that like a requirement to join the band is to stab Euronymous?
This is what I don't get about Mayhem, is the fans are always obsessed about Euronymous. They love Euronymous, but literally everybody in the band hated Euronymous.
along, and that Euronymous was usually the main aggressor in their disputes. It got to the stage where Euronymous was
Euronymous literally was
to take
psychologically
his
torturing
an idea
him and
that
hitting
he
him.
unfortunately followed through with.
And he was a depressed person that was abused as a child. He's clearly in the damage he does to himself. He's clearly somebody that wouldn't be able to handle psychological torment.
Right. Dead is Dead. I mean, that's a clever chapter title.
In 1991,
Dead's dead, baby.
And Hellhammer were living near the small village of Krokstad in a rural house that was in the woods. As previously mentioned, Euronymous and Dead were getting on each other's nerves, and this home was becoming a difficult environment to live in. Hellhammer stated that Dead just sat in his room and became more and more depressed. On the 8th of April 1991, Dead was left alone in the house and decided to take his own life, leaving behind a bizarre note that said, The note also contains some bizarre statements from a man.
I read Undead Chronic's comic.
These included statements like, I belong in the woods, and I've always done
Pause it?
Yeah, this is a suicide note.
Oh, okay. I belong in the woods and is he reading this, or should I just read it real quick?
Oh yeah, he was reading, but you can read it.
Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't catch it because I was talking about I bought and read Undead Chronic's comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's only done one issue so far, but it's definitely a lot more low effort than a lot of the other YouTuber comics out there. Because it was clearly made in MS Paint, so it has that kind of speech bubbles, and there's a bunch of spelling issues and stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's decent. It's granted, I don't know how good it's gonna be because it's just the first issue, so it just kind of sets up the plot. But it basically just has his channel lore. It has his character and a bunch of the people he collaborates with are all characters in it.
Mm-hmm.
I belong in the woods and have always done so. No one will understand the reason for this anyway. To give some semblance of an explanation, I am not a human. This is just a dream, and soon I will awake.
So, no one will understand the reason for this anyway. To give some semblance of an explanation,
he around death and then killed himself. What a surprise!
Right? I mean, look, still a better note than Rory's.
Yeah.
Because Rory's note's awful with all those numbers and shit, and he's like, "Listen to me, dumb fucks." And he's like, "I can't." He's like, I can't just live like the rest of you retarded drones. I can think. I don't want to live like a little retarded sponge.
not a human. This is just a dream, and soon I will awake. He was only 22.
And to be clear, YouTube, I am making fun of a note in a video game, not an actual person. Just to be clear.
Years of age. Euronymous
Wait
was
a
the first
second.
one to come home.
Kurt Cobain's suicide note. Also, he died the same way, except that one actually did it. And but Kurt's suicide note written in like different handwriting.
Well, you cut out, but you were talking about how Kurt's suicide note has different handwriting for the last 4 lines?
Yeah.
And find him, and his reaction was bizarre. As stated earlier, he was obsessed with how dark and morbid Dead was, and to come home and find out that he had taken his own life was actually a pleasant surprise for Euronymous. So much so that before calling the...
Wow! And this is the guy we're supposed to sympathize with? Coming home and finding your friend dead is a pleasant surprise to you?
Yeah, because he was obsessed with like dead. Like he was friends with him because he hurt himself. Like you literally just liked that his friend was like a.
And the movie makes us try to sympathize with this fucker.
Yeah, but he was like obsessed with his friend's masochism and encouraged it all the time. Like he was like a piece of shit. Like I don't know why people care so much about his life.
A local shop and purchased a disposable camera that he used to take pictures of Dead's body. He also allegedly took some of his bones and made necklaces out of them, a story that the band has since confirmed to be true. The next day, Euronymous called...
What a fucking freak!
Culture and informed him of Pele's death. In an interview with The Guardian in 2005...
Like, yeah, I'm gonna take some of his bones and make fucking necklaces. What kind of fucking... What the hell?
He explained what it was like to get the news. Astein called me up the next day and says, Dead has done something really cool. He killed himself. I thought, have you lost
Jesus!
What do you mean cool? He says, relax. I have photos
It's like, wow, Dead's really
I was
cool.
in shock and grief. He was just thinking...
He says, relax, I have photos of everything.
I show you.
how to exploit it. So I told him, okay, don't even call me before you destroy those pictures. Euronymous claimed that he would get rid of the pictures, but he never did, and Necrobutcher ended up leaving Mayhem because of this. This meant that half of Mayhem were now gone, and it seemed as if the band would naturally fade away, but Euronymous had other plans, and if anything, he was only getting started. In his eyes, the death of Pele was a positive turning point for both Mayhem and black metal. He started to go on a crusade to preach the importance of black metal and what it meant to be a part of this genre, using the death of his former bandmate to his advantage and claiming that Dead took his own life because black metal had become too trendy. And
sounds like Varg is a good guy. Like, fuck this guy. Why am I supposed to sympathize with someone this fucked up, you know?
You mean Euronymous?
Yeah, no, I said Varg is a good guy, though.
Oh, yeah, Varg, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was what I was getting at. No, I'm talking about Euronymous sounds like a total piece of shit. Why would I want to sympathize with him?
Yeah.
Commercial. Now, it should be noted that Dead was definitely critical of certain artists, and he believed that bandwagoners were a very real thing in the metal community. But while he opposed trends, he didn't necessarily oppose the idea of Mayhem or other black metal bands becoming commercially successful. In 2016, a former pen pal of Dead, who had direct correspondence with him, released a collection of letters that he had sent to him while he was alive. These letters were pretty revealing, and we learn a lot about Dead by reading them, but one thing is for sure, he was very focused on the sales and success of Mayhem. Like any passionate musician, he wanted his music to do well, and he constantly referenced his distribution plans.
I do like that we're watching a lot of documentaries on interesting people, though, because like we watched that one on our Crumb, and now we're watching this.
Yeah, but I gotta say something. His letters are showing that he wanted commercial success for this band, and then freaking Euronymous says, "Oh no, Dead actually." He killed himself because the band became too mainstream, and he didn't like how mainstream black metal was becoming.
Yeah,
when he wanted it.
He's just objectively wrong.
Yeah, he was literally just making stuff. He was because all he freaking cares about is marketing his friend's death to make money.
Yeah.
He actually didn't care about money. He cared more about popularity. because he wanted everybody to think of him as like this badass, cool guy, but he actually wasn't, and Varg proved it.
were achieving, and other black
He proved it 23 times.
metal bands that were doing well at the time. The reason I'm making
That's
this
the number,
literally
right? It is 23, right?
Because Euronymous tried to stab Varg, and then Varg stabbed him a couple times, and then Euronymous screamed and pleaded for his life and ran away. And Varg was disgusted by his cowardice, and then that's when he decided to kill him and stab him the rest of the times.
This point is that Euronymous wanted people to believe that Dead took his own life because black metal was becoming too successful, and that simply wasn't true. It pretty much goes without saying, but Euronymous used Dead's passing to further his own agenda and emphasize his own elitism. He was able to convince people that black metal was something worth dying for, and he now had an actual martyr to go along with his story. And it worked. With his newfound notoriety, Euronymous opened up a record store in the summer of 1991, known as Helveta, or Hell in English. He also used this store as the headquarters for his record label, Death Like Silence Productions, which was relatively inactive before Helveta opened up, but it was now ready to fully embrace and support the black metal revival. The store also served as a location where like-minded musicians could meet, which helped Euronymous revive
the members for some, like, they're like really against drug use, which is kind of interesting. Like, that this group that wants to, like, that goes for like this extreme, like that goes this extreme, like they were like against like drug use and other things like that. And like I one of the comments I saw was, "This is why bands should do drugs."
Nice.
Mayhem from the ashes by finding suitable replacements. By 1992, they had a full lineup again, and they were ready to resume recording. Snore Rush, otherwise known as Blackthorn, joined as a guitarist, and Attila Chihara became their new lead vocalist. They still needed a bassist, however, and unfortunately for Euronymous and for Mayhem, the person they chose for that spot would not only play for the band, but would also help set off a chain of events that would destroy the band.
To see, this guy's clearly Team Euronymous.
Yeah, what a loser.
He's like, oh, unfortunately, this guy came and ruined Mayhem. Ruined or made it better.
Worse or better?
In 1991, an 18-year-old known as Varg Vikernes created the one-man group...
Is this some fucking creepypasta music? Listen, is he playing fucking creepypasta? Like, listen.
...known as Burzum. A year later, in 1992, he released a...
Yeah, he's playing fucking creepypasta music!
That's
title project under that name.
But I find it interesting, though, this all happened to them when they were in their late teens and early 20s.
Uh-huh.
Like, this all happened within the span of, like, a couple of years, really.
Was an exceptionally talented, well-rounded musician who at 19 years of age was crafting some of the best atmospheric black metal of his time. At this stage, Euronymous had created what was described as a black metal inner circle, and he was the de facto leader of it. It was a small clique of musicians, and in Euronymous' case, it was...
But, like, how can this guy still be on Euronymous' side after bringing up all the shit around Dead's death? That's crazy to me, you know? You're still there, right, Corbin? Corbin?
Just wanted to make sure that my I wanted to see if this would fix my connection.
Oh, okay. Well, you sound fine now.
Cool.
Oops, hold on. Did you say something else? 'Cause...
No, I didn't.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I accidentally opened Steam, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. There we go.
It was a great way to source potential talent for Mayhem, and Varg, being one of the most talented young musicians in the scene, was a perfect fit for the band. He joined as a bassist in 1992. Euronymous was more powerful than ever. His band, his label, his store, and his inner circle were all working in his favor. He had essentially created a well-oiled machine that was especially
exploiting his friend's death.
Designed for him,
yeah.
And because of this, he started to make a list of rules.
was like this great like guy who was just misunderstood or something.
Well, like, and
Or
like
he
that's
was,
what I said. How can he still defend him after he like went into detail about how he exploited his friend's death and like?
And regulations.
And then this guy's
that you
like,
had to
"Oh, what
follow
Varg
in order to be
Yeah.
what a piece of shit."
a real member of the scene. The main rule was that you had to be a Satanist. He didn't even care about what kind of metal you were making, as long as you practiced actual Satanism.
So you're saying that you told me that this is bullshit, right? Because he was actually a pagan. Or no, this is he? He's not talking about Varg. He's talking about Euronymous, right?
What Euronymous said, but Varg Varg was pagan. He might have used Satanism while he was with the band as like a way to like seem cool or something, but
Gotcha.
but like
considered you a part of the black metal scene.
made it clear pagan.
Well, I know. You know, Styx Hexenhammer's pagan, right? Pretty sure he is.
Who?
Styx,
yeah,
because you know he went through a Satanist phase, so.
He said, if a band cultivates and worships Satan, it's black metal. In a way, it can be ordinary heavy metal or just noise. What's important is that it's
not
satanic.
even.
That's what makes it black metal.
I mean, if it sounds
not
like
what-
garbage, it's garbage. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Like, what he said is like stupid. Is like, oh, black metal. Like Euronymous is talking about what black metal is, and that it's Satan, and that it has to be inherently Satanist. And it's like you didn't even invent black metal. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Another strange rule he had was that his listeners had to be deemed worthy to listen to Mayhem's music. In multiple interviews, he talked about listeners
freaking
who
played
were
like
unworthy
Vulcan's
and therefore
brother.
should
In the movie, looks nothing like that. And Varg is played by a fat Jew.
not listen to black metal.
Det jævla stor etterspørsel etter skiva da, og den har jo gått for opp til 1500 kroner på svarte markedet. Og vi mener jo at den gangen den skiva kom ut, så var det kanskje en 30-20...
I mean, I like the gatekeeping aspect he's doing here, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one thing I liked about Euronymous was that he gatekeeps like as hard as he did, and that he was like all about like full like you're allowed to be in it unless you were extreme.
30 mann som fikk tak i plata, som fortjente å eie den. Og resten av de som fikk tak i den en hel haug med idioter.
This kind of elitism gave the genre an alluring but exclusive energy that added to the already insane image.
Look
that
at his
black
face
metal
though;
had,
he just looks
but
so
probably
stupid. I think.
Yeah.
did more harm than good and stopped potential fans from enjoying these artists' work. However, a lot of people were willing to follow these guidelines, and it did nothing but add to the cult leader-like status that Euronymous had created. He was on top of the totem pole, and his ego was at an all-time high. Understandably, tensions started to rise, and Euronymous' image became a confusing one, with some people thinking that he was a god, while others believed that he was an egomaniac on a power trip. Many members of the black metal community started to criticize his way of thinking. One of these critics was Varg, who still worked and associated with Euronymous, but that did not stop a power struggle from brewing. It's widely believed and reported that Varg wanted the power that Euronymous had, but with him owning the store, the band, and the label, the cards were all in his hands. Whether this power struggle theory is true or not, it was fueled by an insane
Well, you definitely want to perpetuate that it's true, don't you?
chain of events that would ultimately lead to a murder.
Varg was actually more liked in the band at the time. And actually, like literally, Varg was going to the music store when he was going to the music store to definitely not, kill him because he didn't plan the murder. I mean, he said he didn't plan the murder, so that it's true. And but when he was there were already like people lined up at the house that wanted to kill him.
It's not surprising that black metal wasn't the most commercially successful genre of music in the early 90s. The exclusive nature and the abrasive sound made it a difficult genre to be a part of.
Well, in the 90s had the Satanic Panic.
In the eyes of some of the musicians, the only way to really promote it was to embrace this stereotype further and generate enough controversy so that journalists would write about black metal. According to a blog that Varg wrote in 2004 while he was in prison, he hatched a plan with Euronymous to promote the Helveta store and attract more fans to the genre. Under his pseudonym, Varg gave an interview to a Norwegian
Why does
newspaper,
Varg-
and in it,
What's that?
During the time, they keep showing picture of Vargs when he was out of prison. Like, why are they not showing him when he was younger?
Yeah, I don't know.
he claimed
Do they think if they just make him look older, that somehow makes him look worse?
that he was
I have
responsible
no
for
idea.
the burning of a church and that he had killed a man in the town of Lillehammer. In 1992, almost a dozen
But
churches were burned down in Norway.
What's that?
Mayhem fans, though, like the mainstream Mayhem fans, really don't like Varg because, well, I think they say it's about the murder, but I think it's actually because of his views that they don't like him.
Right.
And in many cases, the culprit was still a mystery. On top of this, a man actually was murdered in 1992 in Lillehammer, but this was done by another black metal musician known as Bard Faust. That did not stop Varg from taking credit for these crimes, at least anonymously. This interview served as a confession that members of the black metal community were responsible for these church burnings, and the intention was to make the interview as provocative as possible so that it would promote black metal to the masses. Well, it essentially worked. A media spotlight was now on the genre, but there was also a target on their heads. Varg was quickly arrested under suspicion of committing these crimes, along with other members of the black metal community, and allegedly, Euronymous' parents told...
What?
What Varg did was actually pretty stupid, but I mean, it's really not stupid actually when you think about it, because in Norway, you can't really actually get sentenced that long in prison.
Yeah, I obviously,
like
but to be clear, I obviously don't advocate that. To be clear, I obviously don't support burning down churches and murder.
Well, yeah,
obviously.
But wait, did I say something defending it?
No. I just want to make that clear, because we've been saying a lot of positives about Varg. I'm just saying burning down a church is not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying.
Yeah. But one of the ones he burned down was one that they put on top of a pagan, like it was originally, like, I don't know if you call it a pagan. It's not a pagan church. Would it be? I don't know. A pagan site. I don't.
Some sort of holy ground for pagans.
Yeah, it was, and then they put a church over it, Varg. But when he did the interview, though, he did this interview where he literally confessed to the crimes he committed, and basically, I mean, what he did was he basically ratted out the other like, he didn't say specifically which members did what, but he gave away that they killed people, he gave away that they burned down churches and all this stuff, and in this interview, and but it worked out for publicity, and I think he did it for publicity in the first place.
Okay, so that's what you're referring to when you said it was stupid, but not really, because, light sentences and stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it was also, it did work for publicity. It made the band a lot more popular.
Right.
Found the shop as to avoid any unnecessary attention, meaning their misguided attempt at some free promotion was essentially a utter failure. Varg was eventually...
The band.
What?
But Varg burning down the churches was actually his way of promoting the band.
That's a hell of a way to make an impression.
Released in March of 1993, and at this stage, he was essentially done with Euronymous. They had already had a dispute about money a year prior, and this was the tip of the iceberg. He explains his growing...
I will say, I did watch one of his videos on BitChute the other day, and Varg said some really simpy stuff. Like saying that European women are worth it, and if you're not if you're not good enough for a European woman, you don't deserve to reproduce. I saw that on BitChute, and I'm like, well, that's kind of simpy, because he was saying that they're worth the effort and stuff.
Yeah, but he was all but he also says when he was I think in that same video where he talks about that, he says if you have tattoos, you're not worth it, or if you have a piercing like this, you're not worth it. If you're a black metalhead, you're not worth it. He was basically saying that he doesn't find women like that attractive, and he doesn't think sleeping around with lots of women is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
dislike for Euronymous in the same blog post that he wrote about the interview. Euronymous had made a complete fool of himself by closing down the shop, and most of us agreed that he was a damn wimp and an idiot. I was angry at him for not taking advantage of the situation, which was why I had done that silly interview in the first place, and I didn't want anything more to do with him. As far as I was concerned, he didn't exist anymore. For some months, this dislike for Euronymous spread in the metal scene as more and more people understood what a moron he was, and he blamed me for all of this, and started to hate me. He believed it was my fault that people lost their respect for him. In a sense, he was right, as I certainly didn't keep my opinions a secret, but I think he brought that upon himself. He was simply disclosed by the way he reacted to the heat. He had made a fool of himself. Further, when the media wrote all that crap about me, it made him feel less important. Suddenly, he was no longer the main character in the hardcore metal scene. As he saw it, that too was my fault. According to Varg, Euronymous was so angry that he hatched a plan to kill him, and when Varg caught wind of this, he wanted to confront Euronymous and put this behind him. They had a contract that Varg needed to sign, and Euronymous invited him to meet him in person. Instead of setting a time and a place, Varg just drove to Oslo unannounced with Snor, the guitarist from Mayhem at the time. When they arrived at the apartment, an insane series of events unfolded, and there are multiple different accounts of what happened, so for the sake of being fair and thorough, we'll run through the different possible scenarios. First, there is Varg's retelling of the night, which he wrote about in this...
Which you said he's changed like 3 times, right?
Yeah. He's changed the story.
But he also did an interview where he essentially recounts a similar scenario.
The only reason he had to contact me was a contract between Bursum and his label. So he sent me the contracts and wanted me to sign them. And he wanted to meet when we were signing them. Okay? There's no reason to wait. Let's just go to Oslo and get done with it. So I drove to Oslo. But of course it takes some time to get to Oslo. You know, it's 500 kilometers of bad roads and mountains, you know, so it took some time to reach. I think we were there in 3 o'clock or maybe 4 o'clock. So he was sleeping. I told him, well, I don't care if he's sleeping, just open the door. And he opened the door, which is rather strange, really. You know, he just opened the door. And even though he had plans to kill me. And he had this beeper, you know. And when I got up in the apartment, he panicked. Because, you know, he probably, you know, he had plans to kill me. I was aggressive, you know, so he panicked. He attacked me, he kicked me in the chest, and just threw him to the ground. A bit stunned, really, because, you know, he attacked me, you know. I didn't expect it at the time. And I was stunned for a while. He was just sitting on the floor, and suddenly he got up, trying to get to his knife in the kitchen. And I thought, well, if he's going to have a knife, I'm going to have a knife. So I had a pocket knife, this small pocket knife. I got it up and prevented him from getting into the kitchen. You know, so he didn't manage.
He used a fucking pocket knife?
Apparently.
Get his knife. And then he started to run off towards his bedroom, where we kept the shotgun that Dead shot himself with, as well as...
He still had it?!
Yep.
What the fuck?
A shock pistol. It's turned out later on that he didn't have any of these things in the bedroom, but I believed it at the time. And that is the reason I followed him. And instead of going into the bedroom, he just left the building, really. He just started to run down the stairs. And I followed him and managed to stop him. And of course, I had a friend with me, actually the guitarist of Mayhem. And of course, he was rather shocked. And I waited, because I didn't know how he was going to react. You know, he was the guitarist in Mayhem. So for all I knew, he could attack me as well. Maybe they planned it, you know. Get a bit paranoid in situations like that. So I just waited for what's going to happen. I just waited. Also was on the floor. He broke a lamp on the wall, so he was swimming in glass fragments with only his underwear, so he was rather bloody. And this other guy just ran by.
Yeah, he tries to say in his stories sometimes he changes it and admits to because he's admitted to actually stabbing him the amount of times that they say. But then there's other stories where he says, he was just rolling around in the glass.
Okay, so like you said, he constantly changes his story.
Yeah, there's like things where he's always consistent, where it's like, okay, so this happened. And then there's things where it's like, no, he's twisted this to make himself seem better in this way. But it's like if he just but I honestly believe that the story is the other guy attacked first, but I think he came there to kill him anyway. He was going there to kill him, and then he attacked him first, and then when he killed him, he stabs, and then he really did stab him the amount of times. It wasn't because he tries to say that he didn't really do it that many times. It was they mistook the glass for stab wounds or something.
Yeah, okay. So you think part of his story is true, but he does try to make himself look better.
Yeah.
I understood that he did. Okay, he's not.
But then you said other times he just straight up admits to stabbing him that many times, right?
Yeah.
So I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he just ran off. And then I remember that he had my car.
I think as he got older, he
and I had
be
blood
more
all
honest
over
with it.
myself.
With it. I mean, well, he didn't get away with it. He went to prison for the maximum amount of years that you can do prison.
Right. So
after that,
it's
he's
not
just
like they're going to be able to come after him now if he just owns it.
Yeah.
And,
but it's funny though. He served the maximum amount of years in Norway because Norway, like, why is anybody afraid to commit crimes in Norway?
How many years did he serve?
Like, not that many. I mean, I can't remember. It's not like.
Here, I'll Google it real quick.
I think it's around 20. I don't know. But he got out early too, I think.
21 years in prison, 6 months of probation, and a €8,000 fine in 2013.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like not that big of a deal for.
I mean, that's 21 years. I mean, for murder. I mean, in the U.S., it's what 25 to life for some degree. Like, if it's like third-degree murder, you could go in for like 4 years, depending on the circumstances in the U.S. But like the maximum in the U.S. is like death.
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of states. In other states, it's life in prison.
But yeah, in Norway, the maximum is 20 years.
Did
you murdered your 20 years.
When you said 20 years the first time, did you intentionally say it in Chris Chan's voice, or is that just how it picked up?
I didn't even intend Chris Chan's voice. I did a weird voice. But...
20 years.
Years.
So I finished Osadov. I just what do you say, stabbed him in the skull, so he died immediately. And I followed the other guy, but he ran to the car. So I managed to calm him down. You know, he gave me the car keys. I opened the car, and we drove back. You know.
So in this situation, Varg is essentially pleading a form of self-defense.
But yeah, by the way, when he was talking about, I watched a video where he was talking about the movie, and he was talking about where he's like, and it's like in the movie, they show that he cuts his hair before I kill him. This did not happen. They cut his hair after I killed him because I put a knife in his forehead, and that's what you do when there's a wound in the head. You have to cut the hair. And then he said, it's like, I know, because it was hard to get that knife out. And he, like, describes trying to wiggle and get the knife out and, like, how hard it was. And, like, and it's like this, like, he described the murder in graphic detail in that video.
What the fuck?
And all he was doing was talking about the movie. He was talking about how he didn't like the movie. And then he goes just talking about the brutal murder he committed casually in a comedic.
That's dark.
And he's talking about how much of a pussy he was, too. He's like, oh, yeah, and he was a wuss, and he was crying and running away, crawling on the ground, and I was just like, man, he's so weak, and then I killed him.
In the blog post, he admits that Euronymous attempted to run away multiple times, and that he was angry at his cowardly behavior. I gave chase, stabbed him, and was a bit surprised when he ran out of the apartment instead. It made no sense to flee, and it made me angry to know that he had started the fight, but the moment it didn't go his way, he decided to flee instead of fighting like a man. Such is always something I have disliked strongly. He had showed his intention to kill me, and even though he was no longer a direct threat to me, there and then, I did not feel any bad for killing him. His cowardice had made me angry, and I saw no reason to let him live. Not when he had showed his intent to kill me. Had I let him live, I would only...
What?
I laughed and then said, "This isn't fun."
Yeah.
Let him have another attempt at my life later on. This blog post made the self-defense theory more difficult to justify, and it's important to remember that this is coming from the man who actually committed the murder, which is obviously a very biased source. What's important about this blog post...
You attack to defend yourself and then they cry and cowered away. Do you think you can't kill them now? You have to give up.
That is the law, Corbin. If someone retreats, you cannot aggress.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think that should be the law?
That is
if
the
you
law.
had to vote, well...
Okay, let me put it this way, Corbin. That is currently the law. I think that law makes sense. I think there might be some circumstances where someone might pretend to be fleeing and then come back once your back is turned or something. I think that there's...
Varg's thing that he says is that if he didn't kill him, he would have just came back and attacked.
That's certainly possible. So I think there is some complexity to it, but I also understand why the law is the way it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In Varg's confession in general is that he claims that he was the only person responsible for the death of Euronymous and that he had no original intention to kill him. This is a vital piece of information because the other account of this night is wildly different. Both Varg and Snore were eventually arrested for the murder of Euronymous, and the police wanted a confession from both of them. At first, Snore denied having any involvement in the crime, but eventually he changed his story, and he admitted that Varg had planned to kill him all along, and that he persuaded Snore.
Kind of like fake in the way they presented themselves. And Varg was like the real thing.
Yeah.
And they when Varg joined. Like when Varg joined, he was like literally everything that they said that they were, but they were lying. And then they got introduced to the real thing.
Yeah.
This is the story that the jury bought, and Snore was sentenced to 8 years in prison, while Varg was sentenced to 21 years in prison, a sentence that...
But I think it's funny though that after Varg, just, the guy that did that murder that one time, and then just listened to his interesting views.
As he was also convicted of multiple church killings.
A lot of the comments were just like, were like that, where it's just like the guy that stabbed that guy like this many times. What an interesting video he's made this time.
Happened a year prior. The answer probably lies in between both.
You see, he doesn't look like Jimmy Anderson now with like his beard and stuff, but without the beard, he really looks like Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah.
These stories, and it wouldn't be surprising if there was indiscrepancies and inconsistencies in both of these accounts. By the sounds of it, Snore was probably in the wrong place at the wrong time, but Varg's self-defense claim is also quite flimsy when you zoom out. But the result was the same. Euronymous was dead, and the black metal community and Mayhem would never be the same again. It was a sad tale of ego, power, and what it all ultimately leads to: death.
This is what happens when you exit the Matrix. Pay close attention.
This fucking ad.
When you are in the process of awakening, you will...
Shut up. I tell you what, I have to piss, so I will be right back.
We'll be right back. Difference between death metal and black metal is death metal sounds like this. While black metal is more like... What is better? Black metal or death metal? Or stoner metal or new metal? Or heavy metal? What is the best metal? Why is nobody even watching? I'm the only person even watching. Heavy metal, this is metal. I am metal. Heavy metal, this is metal.
I think the best metal is some sort of titanium alloy.
I think the best metal is heavy metal because it's heavy and it's hard to pick up.
It's true. Look it up.
I've been listening to this metal all day.
That's right.
This is fucking boring. Why do people listen to freaking objects?
I think it's funny though that Cucumber Clan unironically said "that's right" in his latest post.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's just becoming the parody.
Yeah.
At this stage, I'm sure you're asking yourself why we haven't talked about actual music for almost 20 minutes. And the answer to that is there was barely any Mayhem music to talk about. Throughout all of this carnage and all of this bloodshed, Mayhem hadn't released an official studio album. They had some demos, recorded rehearsals, and live shows, but it wouldn't be until 1994, a year after Euronymous was buried, that Necrobutcher and Hellhammer came together to finally release their first album, De Mysteries Dom Satanos, a Latin phrase that means about the mysteries of the Lord Satan, a strangely fitting name given the circumstances. This may have been the best thing that Mayhem ever made, and it was one of the most culturally significant and important black metal albums of all time. It was dark, fast-paced, well-crafted, and thought-provoking. It was the culmination of 7 years of absolute insanity, and it had a baffling lineup. Almost everybody we talked about had a part to play on this album. Hellhammer supplied the drums, Attila Chihara was the vocalist, Dead and Necrobutcher were credited writers, Varg was the bassist, and Euronymous was the guitarist. After everything that had happened, after all of the fights,
It's interesting that he was the bassist.
insults, the suicide, and the murder, they were all together.
You get it because it has bass in it.
Together for a final time. Mayhem are still active today, with Necrobutcher being their only original member left, but nothing would top this album. It was truly a phenomenon, and it's one that I highly recommend you listen to. A group of men in their early 20s had changed the landscape of metal forever. But
So wait, was the one that has the picture on it, was that released later?
If it's an album,
was it not like an actual LP and it was just like a demo tape or an EP or something?
Because that's what I think it was probably just a tape or a thing.
lives were ruined and destroyed in the process. A sacrifice that I'm sure most of them were unhappy with, but some of them probably didn't mind.
And that's him at trial, right? That smile?
Mm-hmm. That's after they say he was guilty and that he has the maximum amount of... They give him the maximum sentence.
And that is it for this episode of Morbid Musicians. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed what a wild ride that was.
He actually smiled because he thought that he thought he caught them in a loophole or something, and then turned out he was wrong.
Dude, pineal gland!
What?
That ad that was like, this is how you escape the Matrix. It's talking about the pineal gland.
Is this Gnosticism?
Oh my god.
Oh, it is actually freaking Gnosticism.
Oh my god.
I'm going to come again.
What now, Corbin?
Just watch the movie now, I guess.
Okay.
Probably not.
Yeah, we probably can't show that one on YouTube.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube, weirdly.
Yeah, but remember, so was Boogie, and I mean, granted, we had that up for months before they blocked it, but...
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that for this. This is like an actual movie you can buy at this... Like, it's not that old of a movie.
Is this the one, Mayhem Lords of Chaos?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we will be muting and stuff, going more like a traditional Redeye theater. Let's see, let's get this going. So should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, and after this, just to get to know more about Varg specifically, we might watch videos on BitChute, I don't know.
Right, if we do that, I might have to mute them too.
Yeah.
Not for the same reason, though.
Too based for YouTube.
But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mute you now, so you are muted, and we will start the actual movie. So this is on YouTube. But you said this movie's pretty bad, right, Corbin? It's 2 hours, so... we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to hit play in 3, 2, 1, now. What movie are you watching? Mayhem, Lords of Chaos. Based on the band we just watched the documentary about. None of them have Norwegian accents in this? Like, do they all have, like, American accents? What the fuck? Yeah, what the hell? This is one of them. I thought it was just like a narrator. This is supposed to be Euronymous. There he is. Yeah, no, that's one of the Culkins. Is that Macaulay Culkin himself, or is that one of his brothers? Okay, is it Rory, or is it Kieran? Yeah, they look a lot lamer in this than they did in the actual pictures. Dude, is he wearing an Ahmed the Dead Terrorist shirt? Because that wouldn't make any sense. Like, he's clearly not, but it kind of looked like that, you know? Like, the reason that wouldn't make sense is because obviously Jeff Dunham didn't really pick up until the 2000s. Get out of my room! Mom, get her out of here! You're cutting in and out a lot, Corbin. Right, yeah. Yeah. It makes you want to feel sympathy, but also makes you want to think that the band is, like, stupid and, like, not gonna succeed. That's Rory Culkin, I'm pretty sure, seeing a closer look at his face. Which, Rory Culkin was the kid in Signs. Like, the kid in Signs who has asthma. Did you say pause it or no? Okay, cool. I didn't. I just checking. Like, none of these guys look anything like they did in the actual pictures. Honestly, these look like a bunch of characters from that show, The In-Betweeners. Like, you ever seen The In-Betweeners? No, it's a British sitcom about a bunch of teenagers trying to get laid. These guys look like those kind of characters. This really did happen, but not in a car? So Dead actually sent them a crucified rat. Holy shit. Look at that subtle off-white coloring. What? Yeah. He's coming in, he's gonna be like, it's birdie fur, baby bird. It's a dead fox. Is he gonna just, like, start eating it? Yeah, I'd say Dead is probably the best cast one, right? Like, this movie makes them seem like a bunch of sweet little fucking LARPers. Well, of course I'm wearing the same clothes as the previous video, Andy. I literally recorded it and uploaded it right before we started this stream. Are they gonna try and make him seem like he was actually, like, close with Dead and actually liked him? What the fuck? Yeah, because he's like, oh, we became close friends. It's like, bullshit! You piece of shit. Yeah, fuck cats. I hate cats. Yeah. Dude, they got the single shotgun from Fallout New Vegas. Pull the trigger, Piglet! Yeah, I would imagine watching this dubbed into, like, Swedish or Norwegian would be better. I did say before these clothes need to make more appearances in your videos. What, you mean my jacket? You think my jacket should make more appearances in my videos, Andy? Pull the trigger, Piglet. Yeah, they genuinely try to make him seem sweet. But, like, even though that documentary was clearly, like, slanted in favor of Euronymous, he was a fucking, like, that's all I've seen. That's all the context I have, and fuck him. You know? You You know what would be really funny is if King Cobra JFS had a cameo in this movie. He would. Especially these versions of him, right? They really want to make it seem like him and Dead were like best friends, don't they? Dude, who are these Kiss dropouts? Yeah. Yeah. They're really cringy in this movie. I like how the Spanish name for Mayhem is just violence. Dude, this new Crow movie looking pretty legit. So wait, is that fat guy supposed to be Varg, or is Varg not come in yet? Yeah, I was gonna say because Varg's in it later, right? So they haven't showed him yet. Okay. Because because like a lot of music biopics do make shit up. Like that scene in Bohemian Rhapsody where Queen breaks up never happened. Yeah, well, granted, I like Bohemian Rhapsody. That's actually a good movie. Like, it's got a lot of things wrong, but it's still a good movie, you know? Whereas this has been stupid. What the fuck? Well, Mayhem fans are pretty dumb then, aren't they? Right. Corbin, as a Mayhem fan, says, fuck Mayhem fans. Basically, he's saying he wants to get fucked. But in the movie, they're like, oh, he buried his clothes, so let's depict him naked to do it, when that's not how it happened. Like, he put on other clothes and then buried these clothes. It's really homoerotic. Well, especially with how buddy-buddy they're making them, right? Because, again, from that documentary we just watched, these two fucking hated each other. Dude, are they doing Yankum? The cat's out of the bag! No, the cat's still in the bag. I got him right here. Yeah. Yeah, for a movie about a band, you're saying, like, is this, like, the only scene where it actually shows them being a band? That's so stupid. I'll be honest, I've never been the fan of, like, the screaming metal all that much. Yeah, I know. So I probably wouldn't vibe with their music all that much. Yeah. Like, granted, I've listened to some metal that's kind of screamy. Like, there's this band called, like, Dimmu Borgir, who I think is also, or who I think is, like, Swedish or Norwegian or something as well. I don't know what they are. There's some sort of Scandinavian. Dude, he's hurting himself today. To see if he still feels. Because, you know, the pain is the only thing that's real. I don't know the lyrics to that song. I was trying to make a hurt joke. Wait, so they show him cutting himself and shit, but they don't show it when he actually kills himself. Oh, okay. Right. Dude, the way he's just like, how are you, and looks concerned, that's completely out of character for how he actually was. Because, like, how he looked at him and he looked concerned that he was cutting himself, but, like in the whole thing, it made it pretty clear that Euronymous really liked Dead's masochism. I mean, he is a sad figure, but for a different reason. That's Varg? Okay. Yeah, he looks nothing like him, and they're trying to depict him as, like, the normie, like, mainstream one in his eyes. That's really stupid. Yeah. Like, look, I'm not even saying that they needed to make Varg sympathetic in the movie, obviously, but it just fucking be honest about how it actually went down. Right, because he still killed him. And he burned down churches and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. For a singular... Well, that, to be fair, like I said, in the U.S., 20 years is pretty common for murder, because like, that's why they call it 25 to life, because like the average for murder is like 25 years or a life sentence, you know? If that's for first-degree murder. If it's like a second or third degree, like I said, I think the least you can get is like 4 years for like a third-degree murder. Okay. The band thought this was distasteful, but, like, again, with the way Dead was, he would have wanted them to depict his suicide pretty graphically, because he was all about that. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, that's the one thing I like about Euronymous, is how extreme he was. And how gatekeepy he was. Like, I mean, fuck him, but, like... Like, he is interesting in his own right. They're showing him cut himself. Did they still show the shotgun? Because, like, I assume they're going to still show him blow his head off, right? Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, because they didn't make any mention of him cutting his throat before shooting himself. Yeah. Dude, I can't believe Courtney Love found her way to Norway. Right. My idea. There he goes. Well, I mean, you do shit yourself when you die. Right? With, you know, I think the last thing to go through his mind was... buckshot. Yeah. Like, they didn't show Euronymous, like, bullying him at all. That would be interesting if there were some theories like that. Yeah. Okay, let's see his reaction in this. Let's see what they do here, because we know what his reaction was, because that was pretty explicit. Yeah, he's like stopping... Yeah, like he's acting like it actually like fucked him up here. Whereas in the real world, he's just like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah. Rory fucking Culkin. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, at least they actually had him taking the picture, right? Wait a minute. When did this happen? When did Dead kill himself? Because were digital cameras a fucking thing? Or not digital, sorry, not disposable. Were disposable cameras a thing? They were, okay. Was it a... Okay, it was actually a disposable camera. Okay, because I wasn't sure when disposable cameras got invented. Is it actually going to show him take his bones and shit in this like he actually did? So in this they just lie. Okay, that's bullshit. They said, he said Dead's gone home, and he's like, oh, he went to Sweden? He's like, no, he blew his head off. But what he actually said was, Dead's done something really cool, guys. Like, it's completely different. Yeah. Alright, well, they got the bone necklace, but you said they're gonna lie and say it's chicken bones. Ah. I like in this... I mean, I guess it is kind of true, but, like, even this movie, as biased as it is, makes him look like a tryhard who wants to show how much of a badass he is. Oh... Also, didn't that guy quit the band? He didn't get fired from it, right? Because, like the documentary said he quit the band. It didn't say he was fired. Like, it said he quit the band because he was disgusted by the behavior, like the pictures and stuff. I don't believe that at all. I feel like he would have relished that. Like, did he actually move? Yeah. Like, it looks more like him, but, like, it looks like Rory Culkin just, like, cosplaying as him. Like, the mustache does add to it, but even then, it's still... It's literally just Rory Culkin. Yeah, Rory Culkin with the makeup did look cooler than Euronymous, didn't he? yeah, his eyes are the wrong color. I mean, yeah, obviously that makes sense given his ideology, right? Yeah. Like, he's literally, like, basically a Nazi and they make him a Jew. Maybe they did that as intentionally as a fuck you. Right, whereas I would argue that, yeah, like, he was the realest one. He was the most, like, fucking hard one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know his name is actually Christian. Like, Varg is, like, his stage name. Oh, did he legally change it? Yes, Hitler was a vegetarian. Oh, did Varg not eat meat? I don't know. His current legal name is Louis Catchett, so there you go. Yeah. That is funny that they depict him as like a mentor thing when legitimately like they like even in that documentary it said it was more of a power struggle. Yeah. Yeah, like, but in this they make it seem like he was like a fanboy that wanted to be part of it. Yeah. What the fuck? Dude, he needs to show his ass to make money. Like, the way he's getting down did remind me of that scene in The Room where Tommy Wiseau climbed down. Yeah, this movie's really homoerotic. I'm not seeing anything saying that he's a vegetarian, but I can't confirm or deny it right now. Like, in this, they just wanted to make him seem like an edgy boy. Right. I like how she actually did shut up. Again, it makes him seem like such a fucking LARPer when they have him do shit like that. I mean, granted, to be fair, metal singers can be kind of cringe with shit like that, to be fair, though. No, I think the movie absolutely makes them more cringe. I like how they just make him seem like a fish out of water, like he just doesn't belong. Like this movie is so bullshit. They literally did a concert earlier in the movie. I hear you now, why? Oh, okay, I didn't notice you did. Like I said, they keep trying to make him look like a fish out of water, like he doesn't belong. Yeah. Which is funny that you think that, like, it makes you wonder why the fuck Mayhem fans like this movie, if the movie was literally made to shit on them. Yeah. I'm into murders and acquisitions, mostly. I mixed the two. Whoops. Murders and acquisitions. I meant to say murders and executions, but I guess it's funnier that I mixed the two, right? Yeah. Take your damn clothes off! Because like you said, he's not into like metalhead girls, right? Right, yeah, because like everything I've seen about him says he's into like conservatism when it comes to like the life. Like, and I don't mean like the, you know, obviously cuckser, but I mean like actually like conservative stuff. Yeah, in the traditionalist way, obviously, and obviously like his views are very unique to himself. Yeah, I guess going back to paganism is pretty extreme traditionalism, yeah. So did they make her into a human finger cuff? Oh yeah, for sure, and like they're hell on your vocal cords, those kind of screams. Yeah, I know, because Razorfist has that series Metal Mythos. I haven't watched any of it, because again, I'm not the biggest music guy. I have like the only music-related stuff I've watched was when Razorfist did those videos debunking the Michael Jackson stuff. Because I think he's done like the best video, like taking down the allegations against Michael Jackson. I think Razorfist's breakdown of it is like the best one. Right. Right. But yeah, but when there's like murder and like violence and shit, it definitely makes it more interesting. Well, yeah, Necro's great though. Necro's super cool. Like Necro's an interesting guy. I mean, he's rap, but you know, he's an interesting guy. Right. Hmm. Yeah, the movie... Which is funny, because that's not a thing that you want to positively give... Did you see they have fucking Stalin on their wall? But again, even something like that, they got to give him credit with saying, "Oh, I told him." Which again, that's not a good thing to give credit for. We're not even halfway through the movie yet. Right, yeah, it shows it through a really biased and unreliable lens. Alright, tell you what, I'm gonna pause. It's 45:54 as the time. I gotta piss, so I will be right back. Right, yeah, they have the events, they just make them, like, movie-fied and, like, biased. But yeah, I'll be back. Alright, I am back. I had a good time at church, prayed for you. Okay, Chisu. Hey, from WBP, Florida. How are you? I'm good. How you doing? Anyway, we're at 45:54. Hit and play in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Yeah, they really do show them fucking a lot, don't they? Yeah. It's your uncle's 78th birthday. He was born a few months after Gonagai and had a similar life. Well, I doubt he wrote anywhere near as much stuff, Chizu. I bet he hasn't made a bunch of manga. Even like in this scene, they're making him seem way more hard than fucking Euronymous too, though. To be fair. Right, well, yeah, like I said, they absolutely downplayed the shit with Dead. Like, he didn't even say it was cool. Yeah. Well, like I said, that documentary gave me the implication they fucking hated each other. That laugh that he did as they were running out of the church sounded like some shit out of Night of the Living Dummy. Again, it is just like Slappy's laugh. Yeah, there's so many better songs they could have... I like how they're all Metallica songs that you suggested. They were born in nations that just lost, didn't have a dad for a while, had many bros like the Bible, sci-fi, poop jokes, history, and married Japanese women. Okay, Chizu. It's crazy that, like, they never were able to tie the church burnings to him, though. Yeah, because he's mentioned it in interviews, and he's like, oh, well, the court found me innocent, so I must be innocent. Yeah, like that book OJ made. I own that book, if I did it. Well, you know, that's not how OJ wanted to make it, but the families of the victims are the ones who own the rights to it, and they changed the cover. Because originally, it very clearly said, if I did it, and it just had a picture of OJ on the front. But now it has a bloody footprint, and the if is really small and hidden inside the I. And then they added a subtitle. They call it, If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer. Yeah. Well, look, he was found responsible for the deaths in the later case, because, like, he won the criminal trial, so he didn't go to jail, but he lost the civil suit, so they were able to successfully sue him and find that he was actually responsible for their deaths. And that's the thing about OJ. It's like, yeah, he got away when it came to the criminal trial, but he lost the civil trial. Who the fuck is this guy? Okay, a gay guy hit. Was it actually, which, is this? Okay, so which band member is this? Okay. But it's not Varga Euronymous that got hit on, so. Right. Did this guy get charged for this murder? That guy thought he was going to get penetrated with something else, but instead he got penetrated by a blade. We're on the same wavelength, Corbin. Yeah, this movie definitely has a good amount of violence in it. And good effects, too. Yeah, I do like that they actually depict the violence. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, like this band has some brutal fucking members. Why wouldn't that documentary mention this, though? You know what I mean? Because it was called The Darkest Metal Band. Why not mention something like this? I guess because they wanted to focus on Euronymous, but still. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, because he did mention killing another guy, and then then they weren't able to find who did it, or somebody else got arrested for it, but it wasn't a member of the band. It was a different death metal guy. Yeah. What part of yes that was hit him? Really smart move? What? I disagree. Is it? Of course he was excited because he was a sick fuck. Yeah. Like, they just made up this girl to have, like, a romantic subplot. Yeah, like, why feel empty? Like, honestly, like, all of these guys are bad people, to some degree. Like, Varg is an interesting guy, but he still savagely murdered a guy. And burned down churches. Yeah, no, he's definitely mellowed out. Like I said, he's an interesting guy. I've seen some of his content. So, like, because, like I said, I messaged you about it, because I'm like, oh shit, he's Thulian perspective. I've heard some of his stuff on BitChute before. Which, the fact that he calls himself Thulian perspective kind of tells you what his views are, because if you know what the Thule Society was, that was like the part of the Nazi party that Hitler had that was like into like trying to find out supernatural shit. Because like the Thule Society was like Hitler's like supernatural division of his army. Because you know how he was into a bunch of weird culty stuff. Sorry, occult. Not cult, but occult. You know what I mean. Well, that's why I like Wolfenstein, because, Wolfenstein, like, especially Wolfenstein 2009, it goes all out with that and has, like, all the weird, like, supernatural stuff in it. Yorotsuki Doji was real? Yeah, there you go, Chisu. You're cutting in and out again, Corbin. Yeah. Basically, their views are very dull on it. They're like, oh, they did nothing wrong ever. No, see, he actually was Christian. No, that all occult stuff, that's propaganda. I find the occult stuff and the horrific war crimes to be the most interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Yep, Munchausen, yep. Yeah, because Yorotsuki Doji 2, the villain, is a Nazi scientist with, like, supernatural powers who summons a demon. What were you saying, Corbin? It cut out again. Yeah. Well, again, they gotta change the depiction for the movie, right? I like how they're making it like he regrets it and actually like wants to get out of it. Yeah, he was all for it. Like he was a pussy in some regards, but like he absolutely. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, they just made up this woman to have a love interest. Yeah, no, there's... Like, if they cut out any mention of Norway, you would have no way of knowing this is Norwegian, because there is, like, no one sounds Norwegian or, like, anything like that. A lot of sex in this movie. Like none of them like sleeping around? Yeah. Right. Well, dude, I think the movie probably just took the general like metal vibe, because there were a lot of like hardcore libertarian metal bands at the time, and they just like, oh, Mayhem must have been like that too, and so they just sprinkled it in. Dude, spooky ghosty? That was so stupid! Dude, this new Rob Zombie music video is looking great. You say mime? See, he's really distraught and beat up about it. We should feel sympathy for him now. He's a good boy, a go-go boy. He didn't do nothing. Did he could walk to walk. It's true. Yeah. See, I think this movie's trying to make it seem like when he says it's cool and shit, that's just a facade to try and make himself seem badass, rather than actually having it be what he actually thought. Like, I think that's what the movie's trying to do, to soften him up, make him seem like he actually cared more than he really did. And be like, oh, you see, he only pretended not to care and think it was cool because he wanted to seem hard. Yeah. Like, you'd still have him ultimately be the villain of the story? Yeah. Varg actually what? He convinced all the other members to do extreme crazy stuff? Is that what you said? Okay. If anything, that takes it away. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, like if they actually had proper accents, it would make the immersion better and it would be cooler. Yeah, like it was a movie made in Norway, it would have been a lot better. What do you want for nothing? Looks like that hidden room that they find in Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they find out their grandpa was a Nazi. I don't know. When I was looking at stuff on Wikipedia, it said he had Nazi flags and, like, swastikas, so I don't know. But then again, Wikipedia isn't exactly the most reliable either. Right, well, well, it said that he had a swastika. Maybe it was a different kind, you know? Well, the reverse, like, spiritual one, at least in Japan, is called a manji. I know that. You know, I'm surprised that he, like they had him react there, because, like, he said, this is my photographer. Why wouldn't he say, what the fuck you need a photographer for? This guy looks like bootleg Robin Williams. You see what I mean? This guy looks like bootleg Robin Williams, the interviewer. Yeah, he does! He does kind of look like that guy. Do you accept? You're nothing to me but customers. Yeah, I love that. Like, the Jesse's monologue in Problem Dog is one of my favorite scenes in the show. Very evil, very evil. You look very sinister. They gave this guy an accent. You ain't got nothing. Uh-huh. You cut out his friend, what? Yeah, the other band member who went with him. Right. Yeah. Just play to his ego, right? Because, like, originally he's like, fuck you, and was gonna hang up, but the guy's like, oh, I want to talk to the true creator of Norwegian black metal. With how weird and homoerotic this movie is, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just had him pick up Dead's face and kiss him. Yeah, they're having him cry and be all fucked up about it. Again, not at all how it was actually, like, done. Yeah, literally there is nothing to back up him actually even giving a shit. Other than saying it was cool. Yeah. He does look like YMS, doesn't he? With the sunglasses and hood, he's trying to go for that bass Ted energy. I don't know if you saw that, but I did put a emoji in my Discord called Bass Ted, and it has the fucking Unabomber drawing. By the way, you never told me if you wanted me to port over all the emojis from mine to yours or just keep them separate, so I've just kept them separate for now where they each have their own. Yeah, well, that's the way I've been doing it. Like, I haven't combined any of them. I've just had you have some and I have some. Like, I have Maichon, you have Death Panda. I have Rory, you have Alex. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, if he didn't know how to fucking manage money. Like, because you said a lot of the band members hated him, right? Yeah, he didn't want success. And then he tried to, like, again, it's funny, though, that he tried to say that Dead was, like, on the same page, but Dead clearly wanted it to succeed. I don't believe any of that shit. Well, I believe in it, so do I. Bullshit. Yeah, like everyone said that it was true that he made necklaces from the bones. Yeah, woman who doesn't exist, stay out of my business. What if the twist in the movie was that she was just in his head? Yeah. Well, like, he's the one who started doing crazy shit. Femboy. I like how you refer to fucking Rory Culkin as a femboy. I guess kinda. Yeah, okay, I see it now. I get you. I just think it's funny, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, like, Euronymous looked nothing like Rory Culkin. Like, he doesn't even have the mustache anymore. Like, he had the mustache for a couple of scenes, but... Yeah. See, they're trying to make it look like, oh, see, he wanted to make things right. I felt relieved. Cuts to scene of vigorous plowing. Oh yeah, that's just Varg in a nutshell, am I right? Again, the fucking framing on these parts are ridiculous, where it's like, how they're like, oh, Euronymous want to make it right. Oh, I don't think he means it. Yeah. True, but, like, the framing, you know? Because, like you said, if you made a movie of this, you'd still make Varg the bad guy, you'd just actually make it honest. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is like, again, all the attempting to make fucking Euronymous sympathetic, like, you can still, like, Euronymous can still be a victim and not be a good guy. That's what happened, you know? Yeah. Very heavily slanted. Dude, it's that woman that doesn't exist. There she is again. She's in his head. Alright, I hate to do this, but I have to pee again. We're paused at 1:30, so I'll be back. I have returned. Nice. Alright, so again, we are at 1:30. I'm hitting play in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah. And did they have him do drugs in this? Like, the band itself was against drugs, but this depicts him doing it and shit? Yeah. Like, this is very libertine with the way it's depicted. Well, I mean, you're in my head, so yes. Okay, so this is the part where she cuts his hair before, but, like, actually his hair was cut after. Hold on, I need to feel bad about my friend who died again. Because you killed him yourself. I mean, look, you are a self-admitted murderer. Remember that South Park joke where that guy killed like 20 babies and he's like, that was self-defense. If he didn't kill those babies, they would have killed him. Dude, he looks like such a twink with that haircut. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Right. They parked on the wrong side. Like, you see, like, they could have easily just parked the other way and put the pump in a lot easier. Doesn't he mean a movie by a bunch of idiots? That's funny. Because he was making a movie about a bunch of idiots. Yeah, that's funny. Wait, what the fuck? That car drives American. I mean, granted, I know that some countries in Europe have the cars drive on the same side we do, but I don't know if Norway is one of them. Hold on, let me check. Which side of the car is the steering wheel in Norway? Steering wheel. Okay, so never mind. Norway does have the steering wheel on the left like we do, so that actually is accurate. Because, like I said, in Europe, it's pretty divided which side they actually have it on. Which must be really confusing if you're traveling throughout the EU and you just have to constantly switch back and forth, you know, between which side of the road you're driving on. Right. Well, because they gotta make it more tragic, right? Yeah, like you said, people were actually literally lined up to kill him, right? Well, it said it was the apartment in the documentary too. What do you mean? Like with the way he's putting a shirt on and stuff? Yeah. Did you think he was stripping? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Are you threatening me? They make him seem as fucking insane and paranoid. Yeah, he's so calm. Why? Wait, hold on. As he's getting stabbed. It's really smart. It's really genius. Right. Yeah, he's like maniacally, cartoonishly evil in this version. You're locked in here with me. Make chocolate milk? What the fuck? This is such a weird way to depict it. Yeah. I'll self-defense the shit out of you. This is ridiculous. Like, this is like a cartoon villain, the way he's just sipping the chocolate milk, watching him try to get the door open. Yeah. Fucking gotta get a one-liner off, right? Here, I'll scream with ya! Ah, somebody help! There's lots of memes in that server. There's lots of funny Pepes. I feel like Varg wouldn't be into that kind of stuff, though. Yeah. Which, dude, same. I'm antisocial as fuck. Yeah. I have, like, 3 friends, like, that are actual close friends, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, wow, okay. Oh, yeah, sure, mm-hmm. Like, in real life, he'd be screaming. I do think, though, that it is an interesting parallel you drew, how, like, you're like, Varg is kind of like a Alex DeLarge, where he was crazy in his youth and then he mellowed out. It's kind of true. Yeah. No, that's way more than, like, it was, what, 23 times that he stabbed him, right? That's way more than 23. He stabbed him like 100 times throughout this whole fucking interaction. Yeah, he stabbed him in the center of the forehead, right? Yeah, in the forehead, like directly in the center. Yeah. But also, he didn't have the haircut there. Well, Corbin, since we're watching Lords of Chaos, would you say that chaos reigns? Yeah. Yeah, they toned it down. Yeah, with just a couple of bad things happening. We were watching Die Hard 2. It's about someone dying hard twice. Yeah. But in this, they had to make up some bullshit thing where they told some bullshit story about watching Die Hard 2, just so they could get that joke in, right? Oh no, the fictional character is sad about the real guy dying. Was back, was gone for 20 minutes. What I missed? You missed the murder. Granted, you're not watching along anyway, so you know. The movie literally ends calling us posers. Is this actually some Mayhem music? Why not? Okay. Well, that was something. That sure was a film. Oh. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, that sure was a film. All right. Well, that's definitely an interesting band you've showed me, Corbin. Yeah. Oh, I should unmute you, shouldn't I? Since we're not watching the movie anymore, YouTube can hear you now.
Yep. Here I am. Walk you like a hurricane. Walk you like a cucumber.
Walk you like a cucumber. Yeah, like none of the OG members are in the band except like one, maybe two.
Yeah.
Like it's Hellhammer and Necro Butcher, the only ones that are still in the band.
Yeah, and I'm not really interested in them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they actually like. Because like, when I think of the band, I think of like them when they're at their like extreme point. Now they're just like a mainstream like regular band.
Yeah.
Like that was just a mainstream normal like black metal band, but they weren't. But like the extreme. When you remove like the extremist elements of it, it's just a different thing.
Yeah. Dude, Varg made a tabletop RPG. Did you know that?
Who did what?
He made a tabletop RPG.
Who made a tabletop RPG?
Varg.
Who did?
Varg Vikernes did, yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard it. Yeah, it's considered really like I heard that the game's anti-Semitic or something.
He also
it showed that it had like this. It showed that it had the symbol of it showed the swastika, but it was literally the one from like it was like the actual religious symbol with the dots even on it.
Yeah.
And then they acted like it was a Nazi.
Apparently, he's written a few
books. The point
books.
of the game was that I need to read them.
Good luck. Most of them are really hard to find. And I would imagine a lot of them haven't been released in English, you know?
This cannot be.
There is one, like, there is a couple of them that are in English, like, this one that's like $700 almost. Because it's probably pretty rare, called Sorcery and Religion in Ancient Scandinavia.
I found his paperback books for pretty cheap.
Oh, did you?
His Paganism Explained, part $6. Yeah, on Amazon.
Yeah, okay.
Reflections on European Mythology.
Okay, yeah,
Museum,
he does have some.
Dude, I'm deaf.
Yeah, okay.
I'm deaf buying these. Paganism Explained, part 2, Little Red Riding Hood and Jack. Dang, man, these are so cheap. Oh, man, I'm blessed.
Well, there you go. There's something for you to buy.
Christ, you would love these. I am blessed by Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
this guy.
Jesus Christ wants you to read a bunch of pagan stuff that explicitly is anti-Christian.
Yeah. I have so many Christian books, though. I think it evens out. I have the Bible, Dante's Inferno, Mormon, the Gnostic Gospels. You know, I've got
bit of Christian literature, so I think that this balances.
Okay.
But really, I don't care, because like all that stuff is, it's like if you look at history, it's like I don't freaking know, because like the history on religion is insane. Like I don't think there is any like consistency to like the history of religion. I think religion just constantly changes.
Right.
And but like there's like patterns, and you like the patterns of it are what make it real, I think. But it's when you get into like when you get to like all the things that the religions have in common, it paints like a fuller picture. But if you're just looking at like obviously one religion isn't gonna, like, I think that the view that, oh yeah, this book is 100% right, all the answers, obviously. But the thing is, like, I don't think you can like do like where Varg doesn't like Christianity because of it's replacing paganism and stuff like that. But Christianity itself still takes from paganism, so you know what I mean. Like Christianity still takes from other like pagan religions.
Right.
And also Greek philosophy, which would be connected to pagan religions anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he's released a bunch of like books on the side with his tabletop game that like explain like the lore and world of his game.
Is that what those are?
So, well, some of them, like, like the Creatures of Thule and the Land of Thule.
Like, because are they just explaining like actual mythology and history?
No. The Paganism Explained is literally explaining paganism, but the Creatures of Thule and the Land of Thule are stuff to like for the lore of his game. So he's done both. He's done real mythology and mythology for his game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look, yeah, there's a lot of books though. So, Chisu, we get into biblical predictions. That's going to be a whole complicated thing, because there's some things that I'm like, yeah, sure, that definitely seems like it was a biblical prediction. There's other things that I'm like, well, that could be a coincidence. And then there's things where it was just wrong. Like, I think that there are absolutely biblical predictions that are absolutely true, but, like, when you get too much into that and rely on that, and just because it has stuff in it like that, you got to remember it was also translated countless times, so there could be a bunch of stuff that's incorrect, because every king did their own version of it. Like, that's the thing about the Bible, is I don't view the Bible as, like, the one true book, because it's been passed down and changed like a big game of telephone for thousands of years.
Yeah, like, like, I think it's better to just, like, I think the idea of one actual creator god and then there being a bunch of lesser gods makes sense to me.
Well, I don't know about that. It's like I don't know exactly what my thoughts are on, one or multiple or anything like that. But like, because obviously a lot of my views are rooted in Christianity, so it's predominantly monotheistic.
No, a god isn't like the creator.
Right.
A god.
I get you. I get you, Gordon. I know what you're saying. Like, I don't know what I think on that. Is what I'm trying to say, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, that's the thing, is when you get into the actual, like, mythology and stuff, how much of it do I actually believe? That's where things get a little complicated.
And I don't believe that there is, like, a place in hell for people that, like, think that gods are cool or want to say, like, oh, I think that this god, like...
Well, as you know, I don't really believe in hell.
Yeah.
Because, like, if
That's what I'm saying.
Like, a just God would not create hell the way it is described by most Christian religions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you argue, oh, but he didn't have to create it in the first place, period. You know? Like, and if God is all, like, again, the way I believe is that God has some sort of restrictions on him, because if you believe that God is all-powerful and all-knowing, the universe makes no sense. Because if that's the case... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that the way the Gnostics explain... the way the Gnostics explain hell kind of makes sense, because they say it's an accident because God wasn't actually, like, perfect in the way that he could create just because God wanted to create life to be its own endless, pure, good thing, and then when he made it, it was corrupted, and he didn't plan for it to be that way. And it's just, and that hell just exists by accident.
I see.
I don't believe in that, but I think that makes sense.
Right. Well, like, because the thing is, like, if you say God can literally do anything and has no restrictions, he had no reason to make hell, he had no reason to make Satan, he had no reason to test us, because if he already knew everything and all the outcomes, there's no reason to do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I say that the only way God makes sense is with restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's pretty powerful, but I wouldn't say, like, all-powerful. Like, he's the most powerful thing if he exists in the way I believe that he does. And even then, my views on that aren't exactly solid. Like, it's a shaky thing. Like, I definitely... And it's not something rooted in rationality. It's something rooted in my own perception and things that I've felt and experienced, which isn't a reliable source of information, which is why I would never preach it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like, whenever I talk about religion, I just always do it from... Because, like, when I talk about religion, I don't mean, like I talk sort of like it's, like, something I don't know, I think sometimes I talk, like, it's, like, something, oh, this is what I believe, but it's, like, no, this is just an idea out of many other ideas and possibilities, and just listening to different perspectives of religion and trying to understand... from, like, looking at it, trying to be objective and look at all the religions and...
Yeah.
Like, I'm not... Because I'm not going to say, like, oh, this is definitely what... You know, like, that just seems crazy to me to be going around telling people what the heck is been after they die.
I will say this, though, to be fair to what Chisa was saying about predictions. I do think there is a lot of stuff in the book of Isaiah and the book of Revelation that are absolutely predictions that absolutely have some truth to them and can be kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of things in the book of Revelation that, like, hint towards the end of the world, and this is why Christians get, like, so high on that end of the world thing where they're like, it's coming, we don't need to do anything. Because they see these signs, and yeah, the signs are there. But...
Yeah, but I think also another way to interpret that is that those are just, they're writing about, like, actual signs of societies collapsing that they have seen before, and they're trying to warn future people not to let their societies collapse or something like that. You know, like, there's multiple ways of looking at it. I'm not saying that it is how it is. I'm just saying, like, there's so many ways of looking at the Bible.
I think it's really funny that we started with a metal documentary, then watched a movie about that band, and now we're talking about religion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, religion was, like, a big part of that movie.
That's true.
Or in the band itself,
yeah.
Like, a lot of the stuff.
Like, granted, their views on religion are very different than ours, obviously, and, like, mine are very different from yours, I'm sure, too, but...
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, it's hard to even say that I have... Because, like, my religious views mostly just come from speculation. Like, it's not like... Like,
no,
I'm not
no
really...
man knows the day or the hour, but I command you to know when it's near. Well, there you go. That's the thing that always drove me nuts about end of the world prophesizing, is like, the Bible literally says no man knows the day or the hour, but plenty of people try to say, here's the day and the hour.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to finish reading the Bible, because I stopped in Leviticus.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Leviticus is kind of boring, to be honest. Like, that's part of the problem. Because, like, Genesis was great. I love Genesis. Genesis was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Genesis.
And then I read, Exodus. I already knew most of the story because Exodus, I think, is the one that has like the most movie and show adaptations because it's like the Hebrews leaving Egypt and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. So Exodus, I already kind of knew the story, so that one I got through pretty quick too, and it was already stuff I more or less knew. And then I get to Leviticus, and it's just like, here's a bunch of rules. Here's like an hour talking about building a tabernacle.
Yep.
I did the first 4 books. Yeah, I'm trying. Like, I want to read it because I want to read all of the Old Testament because I really like the Old Testament.
You know what? We're really at the same part in the Bible, I think.
What, you're also in Leviticus?
Yeah, I think I'm at the tabernacle.
Yeah, it's really boring, isn't it?
Yeah, now I think about it, that's why I stopped reading.
But, like, Genesis was great. Like, Genesis is like an entire epic novel series where it has so much stuff happen in just that one part.
It's crazy, because when you think about it, like, Adam and Eve and...
Cain and Abel, Abraham and Isaac.
Yeah, and that all happens in, what, like 10 pages? Yeah.
And then the more you go on, it becomes about Jacob, his family, his descendants...
Yeah, and it's just so quick. Like it's like you get like all these amazing stories in just such a short amount of time. And like honestly, if the Bible was just that, it would be like one of the greatest. Like it is one of the greatest books of all time. But like I'd read the Bible all the time if it was just nothing but stories like that.
Yeah, and I think Genesis is like my favorite book of the Bible that I've read.
Yeah, the Jews made the best part.
Yeah, Leviticus is a lot of repetition and things on how to do rituals. Yeah. Balaam in, I think, Numbers was a prophet or whatever who boned his donkey in curse rituals. Wait, really? I need to get to Numbers then. But I also need to read the Book of Enoch because I do have that. And like obviously, like I've read a bunch of the Book of Mormon growing up in a Mormon family. And, hell, if you guys remember, I actually read Chapter 9 of Moroni on stream.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were there for that, but that's, like, the one that's really fucked up and has, like, the cannibalism and stuff in it.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, where, like, the Nephites, like, they, like, raped, like, the Lamanites' daughters and then, like, kill them and then feed them to their parents.
Mm-hmm.
It says he was beating it and says... It didn't say, hey, why are you doing this? When the angel appeared, but that's Bible talk for what he did. Okay. But that's one thing also with the Mormon Church that I thought was really interesting is that they actually teach part of the Book of Enoch. Like, they changed it a little bit, and it doesn't have all the cool angel shit from my recollection, but, like, there is still part of the Book of Enoch that was taught.
I plan on reading the Book of Enoch. I'm trying to get this past couple reading a lot of the Gospels.
Yeah, I need to get back into reading.
My
because there's a lot of stuff I've been reading that I need to get back to. Like I need to finish The White Pill by Michael Malice, and I need to finish listening to Atlas Shrugged. I'm also listening to this book, Moon Man, that's about the moon landing. And when I say it's about the moon landing, it's a guy who believes the moon landing was fake, and he's giving all of his evidence for it.
Goodbye, Moon Man. Or it's a good night, Moon Man. I don't remember.
It's Goodnight Moon Men.
Rick and Morty. Good night.
I remember when I was talking about Moon Man, the other one, and you thought that's what I was talking about, and I'm like, that's not the Moon Man I'm talking about. You know, Moon Man Doom is like a bitch to try and set up these days. Because, like, you have to download the mod from an archive thing, and I don't even know which thing is the proper download, and I don't know how to make GZ Doom work with it. But I really wanted to play Moon Man Doom because, it has a bunch of unique weapons. But there's no way in hell I'd be able to stream that on YouTube. Because, like, legitimately, like, even showing gameplay of that is taking a risk. Because they do not like people posting Moon Man content.
Rumble?
Yeah.
Do you think Rumble would?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But the problem is I can't figure out a way to get... If I can get it to work, I will absolutely play through it on Rumble. Because, like, Moon Man Doom is probably, like, my favorite Doom mod because it adds a bunch of weapons and stuff. And it's also, like, funny and, like, really edgy and over the top. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish we could have YouTube where you could just... I wish we could bring back YouTube with Moon Man and Varg. Where people like that could just say whatever they wanted. Or even Onision, even want to censor Onision. Like, I think Onision should just be allowed to be nuts in videos.
Yeah. I honestly really like these streams where it turns into multiple things, where we just end up talking about stuff at the end for a while.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm not talking very much. I'm trying to log into my friggin' Amazon.
Wait, is Moon Man undoable here? Nude? No, it's not. It's not nude, Chisu. Here, like there's a really good video on the Moon Man Doom mod by GG Man Lives. I'm not gonna show it on the stream just in case, but I'll share it in the Discord. What's that, Corbin?
I think Chizu would like it.
Oh yeah, Moon Man Doom is great. Like, it's really offensive and over the top because it's got like, it's Moon Man. If you don't know about Moon Man was a meme.
Mm-hmm.
Where I like your hair doing that top thing. What top thing? What are you talking about? Is it like a samurai top knot or something? I don't get it. No, I guess you're talking about this, my widow's peak. When I was younger, I could kind of make it into a Superman curl, but my hairline's receding, so that doesn't happen as much. Kinda right there, kinda. But yeah, no, Moon Man was a meme where they took Mac Tonight from McDonald's and then made him, like, really racist and, like, anti-Semitic and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, I'm explaining it to Chisu since, he wasn't sure why. And, the Doom mod converts all the enemies into, like, black people, Jews, feminists, Muslims. People have done reviews that don't get taken down, but, like, other reviews and, like, anyone just doing a straight playthrough will absolutely get taken down. Because they used to do a bunch of musical covers of Moon Man where they would cover, like rap songs, but, like, make the lyrics really racist.
Mm-hmm.
But like I like the thing about Moon Man is like the meme like was never meant to be taken seriously. Like it was obviously a joke. But then there were like white nationalists and stuff that actually started using him unironically as like reaction videos and stuff. Like there was a channel called Moon Man Reacts that used
Back
to like.
when they were actually funny, then I guess.
Well, the thing is back then, like Moon Man Reacts, the video, like I watched a lot of those channels back in the day, and yeah, they were racist. But, like, they actually, like, they were interesting to listen to in their own regard, you know?
Well, yeah, that's how those people are. Like, yeah, like, I don't agree with what they say, but they're interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should wrap the stream up.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go buy some stuff on Amazon in a second.
Alright. Well, I'll see you guys later. Say bye, Corbin.
Bye, Corbin.